Hello everyone and welcome back to Elvis vs. the World. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. Today we're going to recap the HBO Max's newest series titled Velma, episode 4. As always, thank you all for tuning into the video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications for all the latest content. Let's get into episode 4. So to recap, Velma and Daphne have now become friends again, as Velma continues to find her missing mom, and Daphne continues to investigate where her biological parents are. Fred is still in jail for being convicted for murdering Brenda and Krista, so that sums it right up. Now we go into episode 4 as the mayor holds a town celebration marking 2 weeks without a murder after the devastating murders of Brenda and Krista, which they still haven't found a culprit to yet. A woman comes rushing into the town square claiming to have found another dead body killed in the same exact way as Brenda and Krista. Mayor Dave's parade just got rained on, and what an accurate way of representing how some cities may use their resources. A $10,000 banner is so absolutely necessary for this event, you know? So the mayor then holds another town hall inside the auditorium and announces that Fred Jones is exonerated and will be released from prison since this new murder occurred while he was in jail. Velma then asks the mayor why the town didn't go this hard for her mother's disappearance and gets an angry reaction from the town. The sheriff comes on stage and announces that they have a breakthrough in the case and that each of the victims that were murdered are considered to be quote-unquote hot. Outside of the weird announcement from the sheriff, we find that the recent girl that was murdered, her name was Lola. Interesting how these girls are the same girls that are in Daphne's circle. So now the mayor and the sheriff announced that due to unrelenting budget cuts, the town is going to rank the 5 hottest girls and offer them maximum protection from the murderer by assigning them a security detail, which they call this initiative Hotties Only, Puke Faces Excluded, aka HOPE. Velma interrupts and questions why middle-aged white guys are deciding which Crystal Cove High School girl is hottest. The mayor tells Velma that she should make the list then if she thinks the suggestion is so wild, which she responds by saying she would rather die. The mayor gaslights Velma and puts pressure on the town to side with him in having Velma write the list. Velma then ends up caving in and agrees to write the list for the mayor. After the town hall, Daphne rushes out and hugs Velma for agreeing to make the list. Velma is totally whipped at this point. You can see it in her facial expression. Daphne reiterates that her and Velma are just friends and tells Velma that she finally raised enough money to hire a detective to investigate where her biological parents could be. Velma questions why couldn't Daphne have asked her since she does solve mysteries. She's obsessed with it and she would have probably just done it for free for Daphne, but hey. Velma tries to get Daphne to write the list instead. Daphne declines as her circle of friends desperately want to make this list. Daphne's friends end up literally campaigning to be ranked on the list by putting up posters and making merchandise to convince Velma. You know, they all could have just gone to Instagram and seen which one of them has the most followers or something, but hey, if you're passionate about a cause, pursue it to the fullest. Norval begs Velma to hurry up and finish the list since the girls are going berserk and damaging things left and right. Velma reminds Norval that she likes Daphne and then goes on this dream tangent about liking Fred. Norval, after all this time, is still lending his hand to pursue Velma. Velma then vents and reflects on how beauty norms of women are being so characteristically judged by men, but she also realizes that this may be the only way to protect the students. Norval suggests that they could seek help from Fred to judge who the hottest girls are. Fred finally gets released from prison and Velma sets up a meetup with him. Fred ends up in some scientific trance and ends up crafting this list. He ranks Daphne, Olive, Gigi, Becca, and Kimmy as the 5 hottest girls at Crystal Cove. We pan on Daphne as she begins the search to find her biological parents. We get some nice Easter eggs on the list that Daphne creates. Clue Club references the show Clue Club that was created by Hanna-Barbera, the same production company as Scooby Doo, and is close to the premise of Scooby Doo as they both feature dogs. Mumbly, Goober and the Ghost Chasers, Snooper and Blabber, and Inch High Private Eye are all other animated shows created by the same production company, Hanna-Barbera. Daphne tries to leave when her parents explain to her that they are worried for her safety and plan to start locking her in her room. Norval bursts into Daphne's house and says that he's writing an article titled Reasons Why Someone Else Likes Someone Else's Personality, which in reality, he just wants to find out why Velma is attracted to Daphne and Fred and not him. A rock, or actually a geode from the crystal mines comes crashing through Daphne's window. But when Daphne checks out the window to see who threw it, there is no one outside. Seems like someone is trying to scare Daphne. Velma hands the mayor and the sheriff the final list of hot girls that Fred helped create. The mayor then comes up with an idea that instead of providing protection to the 5 girls, he says, and I quote, "Why don't you teach them to not be hot like you, Velma?" Olive, Gigi, Becca, and Kimmy all show up at Velma's house. Noticeably absent is Daphne, who is still locked in her room by her parents. They complain about not being able to have security, and Velma reassures them that these lessons will be goddess renewals. Olive says that they can't start without Daphne because they rely on her to tell them what to do. Velma says lesson number 1 is try not to fit in and not to listen to what other people tell you. Meanwhile, next door, Daphne sneaks out of the house and meets up with Norval. Norval worries that the serial killer may be trying to get Daphne to sneak out of the house and escape so that he can attack. Daphne's unbothered and desperately wants to catch the serial killer to impress the town and Velma. Norval is still taking notes. This man does not stop. We then go to a newly released Fred from prison. Fred ends up fawning over an artist who paints a portrait of a dog resembling Scooby Doo, rather than the other girl laying on the grass with a bikini. The book that Velma gave Fred has shifted his abilities of which girls he considers hot. Back at Velma's, she goes the extra mile to get these girls to look less attractive. The next day, they show up in school with their less attractive outfit. They all actually look like they showcase more personality in this, except Kimmy has bird's nest and the actual bird in her hair, which is weird, but hey. Norval brings Daphne to the Crystal Cove Historical Society to find more information on the geode from the crystal mine that someone threw at her window. He explains to her the history of how the crystal mine was discovered, how Crystal Cove morphed into a boomtown in the 80s, to the fad ending and the mines having to be shut down and abandoned because of bankruptcy. Daphne ends up recalling a memory from being in the mines as a baby and has a flashback. Somehow, Daphne can remember her baby memories, but yeah. In the memory, someone is handing her a crystal. Probably could be one of her birth parents. Daphne thinks that the geode could have possibly been thrown by her biological parent as a sign that they are also looking for her. Daphne ends up dragging Norval to the crystal mines to investigate. Back at the town hall, Velma is about to showcase her day of hard work to make the quote-unquote hot girls less attractive to the mayor and the sheriff. When she lifts up the covers, they are back to being their original selves. Olive blames Velma for slut-shaming them and that they should not have to change who they are to not get murdered. Velma urges them to look past their looks and that they have way more to offer than that. Olive doubles down by claiming that Velma has this idea of womanhood that's way more restrictive than theirs and demands their police details to be assigned to them. Sophie notices something different about Velma as she drives her to school. After Olive ranted to her about womanhood, Velma says that she has no clue how to be a woman anymore and she dresses up in this costume, claiming that she is celebrating all the ways women can express themselves. It seems like Sophie is now heading into labor, but they are being blocked by other cars in the carpool lane inside their car. She begs Velma to go outside to try to get these cars to move so that an ambulance can come help. Velma runs to the sheriff on police detail for the hot girls. The sheriff does absolutely nothing as people surround Sophie in immense pain. Velma begs Olive to help her get the ambulance to Sophie and tells her to do something that will lure the crowd to them. Velma ends up trying to dance to gain everybody's attention. She notices that no one is being lured by her and Gigi tells her that she has to own being sexy. Velma realizes that she doesn't have to pretend to know how to dance to lure everyone away and can use her sassiness to get people out of the way. Olive, Gigi, Becca, and Kimmy end up dancing and luring some people away, while Velma shoves people out the way for the ambulance to come through. Fred notices Velma from a car nearby and instantly is attracted. Seems like now Fred is developing a crush on Velma too. Things could get tricky if Daphne ends up finding out. We then pan to Norval and Daphne visiting the crystal mines. Daphne is confident that she will get the answer she needs here. Norval begs Daphne that this is too dangerous and the serial killer could be behind this. We go into a flashback similar to the one Velma had in the beginning of the episode. Daphne continues to reiterate the importance of finding her biological parents and needing to try looking in the mine cave. Norval ends up confessing to Daphne that he is trying to take notes on her personality to get Velma to like him, and that he isn't as daring as Daphne to go into the mines. Daphne tries to convince Norval that there are other girls like Velma out there and to look elsewhere. Norval ends up abandoning the plan as Daphne rides with him back to town. There's a hand that appears from the inside of the mine, which could be, well, anyone. We then pan into a hospital where we see Amon and Velma with Sophie. She had a safe delivery and the baby is born. Velma holds her new half-sister as Sophie thanks her for supporting her and hopes that her daughter can be just like Velma when she grows up. Later that evening, Velma gets a picture from Fred and then sees Fred outside her window with a bouquet of flowers. Velma thinks that he's there for Daphne, when in actuality, he admits that he is there for Velma. Daphne is about to feel some type of way when she finds out, I swear. The episode ends with Fred confessing that the book Velma Velma gave him helped him see her inner beauty. He asks Velma to a date, which Velma declines and seems to have shifted her attraction away from Fred. The post-credit scene shows Gigi changing up and embracing the style she feels comfortable in. You could see through points throughout the episode that Gigi was kind of interested in how Velma carried herself. Norval bumps into Gigi and he is taken aback by her new look. They're instantly attracted to one another as the episode ends. This episode was so content heavy as so many different things were going on. We now know that Daphne has some sort of a lead on the case to find her biological parents, and it may be related to the crystal mine. Fred is out of jail and develops feelings for Velma, which Velma declines now. Norval hits another brick wall as he can't seem to imitate Daphne's personality to get Velma to like him, but he ends up falling for Gigi now. But a W for Norval. Sophie has given birth and has built a closer relationship to Velma. However, the murderer still hasn't been found and they are back to square one. So it's interesting to see how this follows through and how the next episodes will go. As always, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. Subscribe to my channel, turn on post notifications for all the latest content updates, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.